Hey guys. Okay, so I know everything kind of changed in March. So at that time, and since then, all the English 4 teachers got together and we discussed how we were going to handle the senior project. And everything kind of came to a halt when the pandemic hit and everything like that. So we know some people were able to get their project completed. So if you have and you're in boat A, where you've already got your senior projects completed, all we want you to do is create a presentation about it and what you did, okay? Now, if you are in boat B, where your project hadn't been completed because everything just kind of came to a standstill, we had social distancing markers, all that other fun stuff that kind of ruined actually implementing your project, what we want you to do is create a presentation of what your project would have been, okay? For both of these assignments, a lot of your legwork was done in part A, but we still want you to be able to experience sharing this with your classmates. And so, what we really want you to do is kind of look at the rubric and just kind of keep that in mind when you're putting it together. So, if you're in boat A and you've already done it, we've kind of went through this rubric. Now, if you're in boat B, instead of the presentation shows evidence that the project was beyond purposeful and motivated, it was impactful. It would be more would have been, okay? So we can tell that it's more than it really involves the community. We can tell that it's beneficial to your community, yada, 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 okay? So anywhere where it says where your project was, instead, you're just replacing would have been, okay? Resourceful and knowledgeable. This is where you're really going to incorporate some of your research that you did in part A into your presentation. So, what did you find out? How do you know your issue is a problem, and what has been done in the past?
Put this one.
Baby, I'm doing this, okay? So you got to go ask Daddy. Go ask Daddy, okay? Sorry, guys. So anyways, what you're going to do is incorporate some of your research that really shows that it's a significant problem, how you decided to come up with your plan of action, that type of thing. And also kind of include what you've already completed and what you would be doing in order to complete it. So kind of like a timeline without necessary dates. So if until March you got this completed, put that on there, and then kind of go from there. Different steps that you would have to do next. Okay, so what are your next steps if you wanted to actually implement this? Okay, and so it's strategic and goal directed. It shows the significance of your goal, and that's where it kind of overlaps with your research. Okay, so think about what your goal is. How are you addressing that problem, or plan, or you would have planned to address that problem. And then awareness of audience engagement. You just want to make sure that it's thorough. And now that we are strictly online, okay, most presentations, if you were going to stand up in front of the room, you wouldn't put everything on there. But because we are strictly online, I would include as many details as possible that your audience can read through, okay? And then reflect on your experience based off of to the point that you were completed and looking into the future. If you were to actually implement this project, what would you do different next time, or would you totally change your project? Why? What were some of the obstacles that you were overcoming, and how did you overcome them? Also think about like what skills did you gain from this project, okay? And the reason that I want you to focus on these skills is because you know what, all of you will hopefully be in an interview one day and they're going to ask what skills you have, and you're going to be able to you can list whatever skills you feel like this project brought you. Like maybe you felt like, it really helped me with my time management and da 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 da, or organization. And then you could bring up in that interview how you organize your senior project to do this and this. Unfortunately, if you weren't able to do it, you could say, unfortunately, the pandemic cut me, prevented me from actually putting it into place. But you have some solid evidence to support yourself in an interview, and that's a really great thing. Okay, so just some variable things to do. Now, just keep this in mind. Of course, we want you to post this presentation. You'll do it on a discussion type thread, so that way you'll also have an assignment later on at the end of the week where you comment on a couple of people's, okay? Because we do want you to look at these, see what your peers did, what were they coming up with, that type of thing. And these might even be beneficial if you're going into college or into the workforce next year or whatever. Especially if you're going into the workforce and you're unable to obtain a job immediately. These might be some things that you could do in the future too for your community, and then you have more employable skills. Okay, so overall, though, I can tell you from the discussions between Miss Elliott, myself, and Mr. Murray and Miss Matherly, like we loved all of your ideas. And we're very, very proud of you guys. And the fact that you have been very flexible and very understanding during this whole process really means the world to us. And so, we're very proud of you guys. Okay. So just stay safe. Okay. And of course, if you have any questions, I know there's always Anna, of course. If you have any questions, feel free to contact any of us. Okay.
Me and Kimberly are workers.
You are
a food worker.